After so many years of living in Australia, I've come to learn that my homesickness hasn't really gone away. I've just learned how to deal with it better, especially when it comes to the holidays. I've just learned that there are ranges to homesickness. I've had light homesickness in my early years in Australia, when my Australian experience was still new and fresh and exciting. But then I've also experienced very intense homesickness, like when a family member has passed away and I haven't been able to be there. I just feel like some holiday seasons it can be okay, and some I just feel completely lost. So each year, especially around the holidays when I usually feel the most homesick, it comes in various ranges. And this year, fortunately, has been a very light homesick season. And that might be because I finally went to see my family in the States after 4 years. So it's that recency that's there, but also we just moved into a new place. So I have very exciting things going on in my life that I guess could be serving as a little bit of a distraction from my normal homesickness. For me, I find it helps to be very intentional on how I want to feel during the holidays, because I know for sure that that time of year is the time where I am most likely to have the highest amount of homesickness. I try to be very intentional, and it hasn't worked out very well in the past, but this year I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job. But I know that between September and the New Year period, which is a good chunk of the year, that's usually when I feel the most of my homesickness. So like a good 5-month chunk out of the year, I usually go through waves of intense to mild homesickness. And that's just so much time of your year to just feel down and just not yourself. So I just do my best to be intentional about that time, give myself grace. I do feel like it's important to also allow yourself to feel those emotions and feel the sadness and the grief and all of those emotions so that you can process them, but not letting them drag you down or spiral into this like homesickness and darkness. So I just try and find the balance the best that I can, and each year it does look different for me. One of my biggest struggles was when we went into lockdowns here in Melbourne. Like, it was really intense. There was a point where we had a curfew and you couldn't leave your house after a certain time. It was so intense. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it was just a really hard time for me, on top of the homesickness that I was already feeling and just not knowing when I was going to be able to see my family again, and just not knowing so much. There were so many unknown variables at that time that it just took me to another level of like intense, like just sadness, and I would say borderline depression. So I've just felt myself really spiraling during that time, and when the homesickness kicked in, it was just another level that I've never experienced in the 10 years that I've lived here. And so I started to pick up some hobbies. I started watercoloring to help me through that time. I just was feeling anxious all of the time. And so I started painting, I started doing watercoloring, and it was like therapy for me. I would just go on YouTube, find a tutorial. I got some cheap supplies, and I would just sit down with a little YouTube tutorial, and I would just paint and just let myself like be there, listening to music, lighting a candle, just being super intentional about the environment that I was creating for myself. And that really helped, just being able to like channel my emotions into something else in a positive way. Sometimes it was just to literally shut my brain off from thinking, from stressing, from like feeling all those negative feelings. It was just something I could do for myself to feel good, to be in those feel good vibes. So I do think it can be very helpful to find a healthy outlet when you are feeling those intense, maybe sad feelings. I feel like something like that can take you so far. I just did a watercolor session recently for the first time in a long time, and it just felt so good, and it reminded me all over again why I enjoyed it in the first place. I really want to look into some local classes to just get out of the house and do it as well. I think that could be really fun. And it's just a good way to get out and active in the local community. So that little thing that I decided to try one day has turned into an outlet for me. Honestly, don't know what else I would have done if I did not, pick that up. So just like finding a hobby, trying something new, trying to have an open mind just really helps in those times where it can just feel like you feel helpless. I think I just try and get really intentional about what I know will make me feel good, even if it isn't what feels like home or what feels like, you know, my childhood Christmas. Like, what will make me feel good? Sometimes if the weather's cold, that's just making a hot chocolate. Or sometimes it's like cooking one of my favorite nostalgic recipes. Or watching a movie that reminds me of something from home. You know, it's those little things that really help me in the day-to-day. It might not be exactly what I'm used to, but I just try and make those new little traditions and I tweak them as I go. Sometimes I'll try something and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll stick to that, but it's something fun and new and exciting. I think it's so important not to get hung up on, is this going to be my forever tradition? And just allowing yourself to step into that phase of experimenting with trying different things, seeing how it goes, seeing if you like it, and seeing if it's something that you look forward to doing again the following year. Instead of being like, I need to find a new forever tradition, and if this doesn't work out, then it's all going to, like, taking a step back, taking a breath, and allowing yourself to just enjoy the process of finding what the holidays mean to you in this environment that you're in. For a lot of the times for me, it's the little things like getting a little Santa mug to drink my morning coffee out of. I got a little Halloween mug this year as well, and that just helped me so much. Halloween's not a really big deal here, and so I had to like make it special for me. Even if the people around me didn't find it exciting, I had to really tap into what was going to bring joy to me. And even if it was something as small as buying a $3 mug, it really did make such a big difference. And that might sound silly to some people, but I just feel like if you get it, you get it. And it's honestly just the little things that I cling on to in these moments. If I don't find those little bits of joy to cling on to when I'm starting to feel that homesickness creep in, I have been known to spiral and just to not do anything, not celebrate anything, be like, oh, I don't want to even decorate. There's no point. Like, just go into that mode. And I find that that doesn't make me feel any better either. That makes me feel worse because then I'm not doing anything. I'm not celebrating it. I'm just pretty much just sitting on the couch feeling sorry for myself. It's just a negative space to be in, negative energy, and I just feel like that carries out into other areas of my life. So I just try not to stay in that space for too long. I think it's natural to have a pity party for yourself sometimes, but I think when you allow yourself to like live there and like make a home and get comfy, it's when it can really start like causing issues in other areas of your life. So this year for me, I've been doing things like I put the tree up early this year. Last time we tend to get very busy towards the end of the year content that I'm working on for my other channel, and we're on trips. Lots of family birthdays and my birthday are weeks leading up to Christmas. So it's just a really busy time of year. And so I just find that if I leave it too late, it will be like the week before Christmas, which is what happened last year. We put the tree up for like a week and a half, and it made me so sad after. In the moment, I was like, yeah, whatever, it's no big deal, but it actually ended up being a big deal. I felt it. Like it didn't feel right. I just felt a little sad about it. And I didn't think I was going to, but it's just the little things like that, just allowing myself to really enjoy the holiday season. And obviously, this is for me, this is because I enjoy the holiday season. If you're someone that doesn't enjoy the holiday season, and then this probably isn't a big deal for you. But if it's something that you're missing and you're feeling nostalgic and homesick, there's a good chance that like allowing yourself to have that time and enjoy that season. I feel like, especially here in Australia, it's not a season. It doesn't feel like a Christmas season. It just feels like the week of Christmas. People get around it, and then, okay, now we're worried about New Year's. Like, it just doesn't feel like a holiday season. It just feels like a holiday like moment. So I try to make sure that I'm immersing myself in my own holiday season, even if everyone else around me isn't really about it. I've been putting up the cozy fireplace videos. I'm sending Christmas cards out. I have not done that in so long. I went into the city to see the big tree at Fed Square and to grab some Starbucks, because going to Starbucks is something that's nostalgic for me. It reminds me of my time living in New York. It's a way that I tap into that feeling of like bringing moments of joy when I'm feeling homesick. Yes, there are other places I could get better coffee here, but it's not about the coffee. It's about the vibe. It's about the nostalgic. It's about me tapping into something that feels like home. And that's not to say that Australia doesn't feel like home, but it's that nostalgic home feeling. Like, if you get it, you get it. So I went into the city and I just enjoyed that, and that was really, really nice. And I have not done that since I moved out of the city years and years ago. I talked myself out of doing it, and then I had to talk myself back into doing it, and I'm so glad that I did. Again, these things are so little that they can be easy to do and they can be easy not to do. But I think that when you do them, you feel the difference, and the difference is big. At least it is for me. I had my first baking session early. I didn't wait till the Christmas break or Christmas, or I just was like, I'm going to bake today. Luckily, the spring weather has been a bit chilly, so it allowed me to get a little bit of the cozy vibes, and I pulled out the slow cooker and I took full advantage of that. And now, you know, we're having some warmer days. I live right on the beach now, so I'm taking advantage of those beach days. But when it's cozy, I'm also taking advantage of those days. And I'm just pretending that I am back in Boston enjoying the cozy Christmas vibes. And while it's not the case for me this year, there have been Christmases that I've spent alone. And I know that the holiday season can be really like hard for a lot of people and just not a happy, joyful time. A really hard and isolating time. And I've spent the holidays by myself. I've spent it by myself and sick and like needing to go to the doctors, like with a fever and like really, really sick and by myself. It wasn't fun. It was very depressing, you know, and going through breakups and in another country by myself. I've had some pretty hard Christmases, so I get that the holiday season can be a real trigger for a lot of people. So if that is you this year, know that I'm sending out so much love and strength to you in this time, because I get it. That might be your year this year, but that doesn't mean that that's how next year is going to be. And you might have a few seasons of rough holiday seasons, but I do know that they're temporary, and I do know that you have to take back some of that control to be intentional about how you want to feel, regardless of the circumstances that are going on in your life. And I had to do that in those times when I was spending Christmas alone. I got myself a little chunk of one-person ham, and I cooked myself a little ham with some sweet potatoes. I made myself a little nice meal, and it was just me, and you know, it wasn't ideal at all, but I still tried to put that intention there and just try to bring joy to myself instead of relying on external things to bring joy to the holidays. Sometimes you just have to dig deep and do it for yourself, by yourself. And that's not easy. That's not ideal, but it is the reality for some of us. You are not alone in this, and there's not much that anyone can say to make it all better, but just knowing that someone out there understands what it's like and knows and is sending you love. I hope that at least counts for something. If you have ever felt homesick, I would love to know the things that have helped you in the comments below, because it definitely will help me, and I'm sure it will help someone else. If this video resonated with you, let me know by hitting the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning in to another video soon. Bye!